evening. Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Riza Diaz.
Tonight's big stories. Vice President Sara Duterte snubs the second hearing of the House Good Government panel, and Congressman Joel Chua drops the P word, plunder.
All eyes on the plenary as the lower house wraps up debates on the 2025 General Appropriations Bill. And the question remains, how much will they allot the office of the Vice President next year?
And dismissed Banban Tarlac Mayor Alice Go finally drops the name of a crucial personality involved in illegal POGO operations. We'll try to get more details on this from Senator Ejercito later in the program.
Vice President Sara Duterte was very much in the spotlight at two concurrent lower house sessions today. First, on the third day of the plenary debates for the 2025 budget, and then in the other hall at a hearing being conducted by the Good Government and Public Accountability panel.
The big bombshell at the hearing came from former DepEd USEC Gloria Mercado, who claimed that Duterte gave her envelopes of money while she was procurement head, the insinuation being they might have been bribes.
Now, more alarming was Committee Chair Joel Chua saying for the first time that the amounts Duterte allegedly misused have crossed the threshold for plunder. Marian Enriquez has the big story tonight.
Once again, Vice President Sara Duterte did not show up to the second hearing of the House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability regarding the expenditures of the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. The OVP also did not send any authorized representative. Instead, Duterte sent a letter to Committee Chairman Joel Chua. The Vice President made 4 key points. One of her points, she claimed that the investigation was based on unfounded allegations stemming from the privileged speech of Manila Representative Rolando Valeriano. Valeriano doubted the reported beneficiaries of the OVP's programs, something Duterte said could be verified through their submitted 2025 budget proposal and COA reports. She emphasized that the hearing was unnecessary. In Congressman Chua's opening statement, he outlined the large amounts in question by COA regarding the OVP's use of its confidential funds. The 73 million pesos spent in 2022, there was issued a notice of disallowance this year, and the 164 million pesos from 2023 also flagged by COA. Chua stressed that the funds in question were significant and may have been improperly used, potentially constituting plunder.
I must stress at this point that the sheer vastness of these potentially misused funds sets this matter apart from other instances of irregularity and disallowance. These amounts easily surpass the threshold for the crime of plunder under our laws.
Later on, former DepEd Undersecretary Gloria Mercado gave a damning testimony. She claimed the Vice President's staff gave her wads of cash every month, the implication being they could be bribes since she was at that time the head of the procurement department of the DepEd. As head of procurement, she also had to sign checks related to confidential funds. In any case, Mercado said she received 9 envelopes in total from February until September 2023, which amounted to 450,000 pesos. All of these were handed to her by ASEC Sunshine Fajarda, who claimed that the funds came directly from Vice President Sara Duterte. Batangas Representative Jerva Luistro asked why she only started receiving such checks after she became head of procurement.
Why were you so uncomfortable with the envelope when you believe that that is just an allowance?
I'm 40 years in government to protect that name. Self-made po kami. I come from Samar.
The reason why you are considering all these concerns is because you believe that the envelope is a bribe. Do you agree? Yes or no, ma'am?
It's kind of harsh word to use, bribe, because if
or should I say it is a means to influence your decision being the hope?
It could be.
Mercado added that she was forced to resign from her position in October 2023 after she objected to what seemed like cheating in the bidding process for the DepEd computerization program. She said she insisted that procurement rules should be followed when former OVP spokesperson and DepEd ASEC Ron Munsayak suggested that the bidders should just discuss among themselves to avoid wasting the 2023 funds. However, Munsayak immediately responded to this.
Parang sinabi ko, mag-decide na kayo kung i-re-rebid nyo yan. Kasi kung i-re-rebid nyo yan, aabot pa yan, hindi masasayang yung 2022 funds. So I remember that, Your Honor. Ang tanong ko lang ho, ba't naman ho ako mag-uutos ng illegal sa isang USEC na head of procuring entity na may mga kasamang tao na hindi ko man lang kilala?
The Vice President, in a separate press briefing outside the House of Representatives, flat out denied Mercado's allegations that she gave her money.
Hindi na kami nagulat. Hindi lang siguro niya matanggap na kasalanan niya kung bakit siya pinalayas sa Department of Education.
Duterte said that Mercado was removed from her position because she had lost trust in her.
Dapat siguro kung mag-akusa siya ng ganyan, dapat may papel siya. Tulad ng ako, pag inaakusahan ako, pag sumasagot ako, binibigay ko yung papel. Gloria Mercado, she was let go because of loss of trust and confidence sa Office of the Secretary. Una niyang ginawa, nag-solicit siya ng 16 million pesos sa isang kumpanya on paper using my name without any authorization from the Department of Education. Pangalawa, noong nag-school visit ako sa Cebu, merong lumapit sa akin na teacher. Sabi niya sa akin, Inday Sara, masakit sa loob namin. Pinakwento ko siya. And then it turned out, ang HR mismo ng Department of Education, our undersecretary, took a teacher item from Region 7, nilagay niya sa central office for a non-teaching task. Ginawa niyang executive assistant niya.
Still in Congress, Mercado did not let this pass. She presented the envelopes she claimed came directly from the Vice President.
So it's 9 envelopes.
Kuha po yung envelope.
So it says hope and the amount is there. Kasi ang sakit naman nun, ordinaryo lang akong trabahante tapos inano ka ng Vice President, di ba? It's very painful.
Mercado also denied leading any solicitation, stating that only equipment was turned over to DepEd, not cash. The Good Government Committee's hearing on the budget utilization of DepEd and OVP is expected to continue even as Congress goes on break at the end of the month. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
Over at the plenary floor, it is the last day for debate for the national budget at the House of Representatives. One by one, lawmakers slammed the absence of any representative from the OVP, and until now, the fate of our 2025 budget is still up in the air. News 5's Brian Basa joins us live from the House of Representatives for an update. Brian, magandang gabi. Tell us, how did the debates for the budget of the Office of the Vice President go, considering there was no representative from her office?
Magandang gabi, Gretchen. Ladies, the scrutiny did not go as deep as expected. The Vice President maintains her office's funds are entirely in the hands of lawmakers, but, lawmakers couldn't move that much to ask questions because yung taong nanghihingi ng pondo ay wala rito sa plenaryo. That's why some representatives lament how Vice President Sara Duterte snubbed the hearings all this time. They find it offensive for the people, Filipinos, taxpayers, whose money is being used for this budget. But still, Appropriations Committee Vice Chairperson Zia Adyong had to defend the budget, even if he had to do it alone. After all, lawmakers are working double time to pass the budget. President Bongbong Marcos has certified this as urgent. Overall, the budget bill has hurdled the House on second reading. The OVP funding stands at some 730 million pesos. That's over ₱1 billion worth of cuts from the original 2 billion. Ladies,
Well, talking about the Congressman Zia Adyong as budget sponsor, how did he answer questions on the floor? Was he able to defend the budget or at least appeal for a higher amount?
You know, Gretchen, the main point for Congressman Adyong is to make sure that whatever amount any office gets, kasama yung OVP, it will allow them to work well. But the lawmaker admits he's having a hard time defending the OVP budget. Here's what he said.
Hindi kami yung nag-prepare ng budget nila, hindi kami kasali dun sa pag-identify ng mga priority nila. It would have been easier for me, to be honest, to sponsor the budget of the OVP had they been so cooperative. No? I personally have my own concerns, no? Concerns that I would like to be clarified with. So it's really hard for me to sponsor and defend the budget na ako mismo hindi ko maintindihan or kukulang ang aking pagkakaintindi doon sa pag-prepare ng pondo na yon at pag-identify ng mga programang ninanais na mai-implement at maibigay ng opisina ng Vice President. Well, it's kind of frustrating, to be honest.
Yeah, so kanina, there was a bit of comparison na kumpara, hindi naman maiwasan ng ilang mambabatas na mapaghambing yung hinihinging pondo para sa OVP for 2025 and yung pondo na nakuha o yung pondong nakuha ng predecessor ni VP Sara na si Leni Robredo. Adyong says, well, inflation had to be taken into account in this figure. That's why ganun ang itsura ngayon ng budget ng OVP, 733 million pesos. As we know, some funds that the OVP initially asked were already realigned to other agencies that need them more. Sabi ni Adyong, if the OVP really wants to continue its projects, pwede ito makipag-coordinate or arrange with those agencies that have those funds. Back to you.
Well, we will get to know in the next days whether 730 million is the final number. In the meantime, thank you so much for those updates. News 5 correspondent Brian Basa.
Now, as promised, Alice Go has given up a name who is said to be a crucial personality in the operations of POGOs in the country. Now, were senators satisfied with Go's revelation? Camille Samonte with the story.
Who is the key individual whose name Alice Go revealed during her executive session with senators yesterday? Senator Risa Hontiveros says the name did corroborate who the committee thought it would be. Hontiveros, of course, did not reveal the name Go disclosed but said she still was not satisfied with Go's statements. Senator J.V. Ejercito, who offered Go the executive session, shared this sentiment, saying he believes there are more names involved. He is hoping that more details will be divulged in the next closed-door discussion with the dismissed Bamban Mayor.
Ganito kalaking operation, importante lang sabihin niya sana kung sino at di rin natin masisi na may takot ito sa banta sa buhay niya dahil kung international crime syndicate ito, alam naman natin walang takot yan na pumatay. Yun naman importante, malaman natin yung pinakapuno di ba? Ako naniniwala baka pon lang ito yung mga yung mga babaeng ito
Ejercito also said that they cannot discount the possibility that Go is an agent of China. When asked if Go can be a state witness, Ejercito said Go can only be one if she divulges who are the masterminds and if these names prove to be reliable. Senators were also tight-lipped when asked if the name Go divulged is a Filipino. However, Senator Bato de la Rosa hinted that the person may have already been mentioned in the previous POGO hearings.
Meron siyang sinabi ang pangalan, meron siyang sinabi ko. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin dito. Hintayin na lang natin kung madesisyonan ng committee na i-share sa inyo. In fact, hindi naman siguro, parang alam niyo Parang nabanggit na ba during the hearing? Parang nabanggit na ata during the hearing yung pangalan niya.
There have been 14 POGO hearings in the Senate in all, and yesterday was supposed to have been the last. But after Go's executive session, senators may call for another one next week. For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
Let's try to get more details on this. We have with us tonight Senator J.V. Ejercito. Senator, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I understand you had to rearrange your schedule to talk to us. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Gretchen, Regina, and Risa. And thank you for having me tonight.
Lots to talk about. Let's start off with Alice Guo. I was wondering what your impression was of her during the executive session. I know it was upon your questioning that she admitted that she's not the mastermind, that she calls herself a victim too. But what was your impression of her during the executive session?
Well, we may not have gotten what we wanted, no, yet, no, but I think it's already an icebreaker. I think it will be a good start, and we just have to make her more comfortable, probably. I do understand probably if, as I mentioned, I do believe that she is just a pawn in a web of international crime syndicate, and there is a mastermind. There are those who are more guilty or the most guilty, and that is who we are interested to find out. And I think she is just, of course, probably scared for her life, probably because she knows too well that these trials, these syndicates are have no mercy. So probably if we can in the coming days, if she feels more secure, if we can guarantee her safety, probably she will just spill the beans and probably tell all. And she's just asking for time for her to recall everything because she just came from a 13-hour hearing in the House of Representatives, 7 hours in the Senate, and 7 hours previously. So she was just asking for more time.
Is it fair to say that the Senate believes at this point that she is not the mastermind, or is that just your own personal opinion?
That is just my own personal opinion because I'm not siding with her or sympathizing with her, but I don't think a criminal operation of this magnitude, uh, a young, they are young women, no, can be behind all of these operations. So I think it's a network of crime syndicates, no. So I'm hoping that she would really divulge, no, so that we can really put an end to these criminal activities of these POGOs.
Hey, Senator, what do you think led to this executive session? Is there really a change in tone of Alice Go compared to the first hearings? Ngayon po ba mas cooperative na siya, mas willing na po siya sumagot? And is it possible that she could be a state witness?
Well, probably, Gretchen, I observed, no, because I was not able to ask during the previous hearing because we lacked time already. A lot of senators were asking and had their interventions. But I noticed that whenever she is being badgered, she doesn't the more that she no, she does not talk, no. So that's why when I had a chance, I tried a more diplomatic or a friendlier approach, so to speak, by talking to her, and I think she only said she invokes her right only once, no, upon during my questioning. So probably it's sabi ko nga pulutan na siya ng ng ilang linggo na, no, ng both houses. So probably it's just she's just human. So probably if you talk to her nicely, probably that's the reason why she was able to give a lot of information, at least, no, when I was questioning her.
Senator, is again an option to make her a state witness presented on the table just so we could get to the bottom of this? Because again, she's mentioned plenty of times that there is, of course, threat to her life.
Well, if she is, I think it's the DOJ, who will be able to determine if she can be admitted to the witness protection program or a state witness, as long as she would prove that she is not, that she is the least guilty, or she can point to the masterminds or the most guilty persons, they can be admitted to the as a state witness.
Senator Risa Ontiveros said the crucial personality, quote unquote, the name that she dropped corroborates the Senate's theory, but there remains a lot of other questions now. Is that also the sense that you got, Senator, that she was still evasive at certain points?
Well, if some of my colleagues were not satisfied yet, no, but I am I would say that I am satisfied because, as I mentioned earlier, this is already a good start. This is the icebreaker. No, I didn't have much time during the session time already, but I think it was a good start. It's a matter of making her feel that she is secure.
Looks like we got caught.
Senator JV froze there for a second. Oh, there. I think we might have
probably, and so that.
Sen JV, do we have you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, we lost you for a little bit there. Go on, please.
Yeah. As I mentioned, I was saying that probably it's just a matter of making her secure, feel secure, and so that she will be more comfortable next time to give us more information about these operations of these illegal POGOs.
Ganun din po ba kay Cassandra Ong? Ganun din po yung nasa-sense ninyo na medyo lumalambot na mas nagsasalita na. What do you think about the other person on the hot seat? I think we
can assure, as I mentioned, as long as we can assure their safety and they can feel more secure, probably it's just a matter of it's a manner of how to ask questions. So, just probably human nature. If they are being badgered, the more they are defensive and they don't talk. So siguro yun lang naman yung naging advantage, no, that I tried to be more diplomatic because I as I mentioned, I observed that the lalo silang hindi nagsasalita, the more they don't talk every time they are being badgered in both houses, not only in the Senate.
Sen JV, since we have you, I wonder if we could also talk about other things. First of all, we heard that there are rumors again of a Senate coup. We've had a number of other senators reject this. What are your thoughts? What have you heard?
It's persistent, no? That has been the life of the Senate, no? The leadership only serves at the pleasure of the majority. But I think, personally, because I was part of the Senate leadership under former Senate President Mig Subiri. Now I'm part of the leadership because I was asked by Senate President Escudero to join him again as Deputy Majority Leader. So I would say that I probably, if there is a move or if there is for any leadership change, I'll probably be one of the last to be offered because I'm part of the present leadership right now. My personal opinion on this issue is that the Senate presidency of Chis Escudero is just a few months old, no? So there's still what you call a honeymoon period.
Sen JV.
Again, any compelling reason to have a leadership change at this time.
Sorry, we lost you for a little bit there, Sen JV. I wonder if you could recap again what you said about what you felt about the Senate leadership of Chis Escudero. If you could just quickly recap it for us, because we lost you for a little bit.
Yes, I think at this time it's still very early. The Senate presidency of Chis Escudero is just a few months old, and there's a sort of a honeymoon period, and people would tend to give him a chance to prove his worth. So unless there is a scandal or any compelling reason for a leadership change, then then that's the only time that there will be that it would gain ground. But as of this time, I think Senate President Escudero is doing quite okay, no, quite well, because he's hands-on, and we have passed quite a lot in the past few weeks.
Senator, nagkasagutan si Senator Alan, pati si Senator Mig Zubiri. Were you there?
I saw you try to referee.
Siya yung referee sa pagitnaan ng dalawa. Buti na lang na doon po kayo, Senator. Napakaganda po ng timing niyo.
I was the smiling referee. So, well, it was it goes to show that that's democracy for you, no? All of us, all 24 senators we have our own opinions, we have our own views on different issues, on different matters. And sometimes we are just human, that there are issues that we are attached with or we become emotional. So probably it's just that the emotions got the better of former Senate President Mig Zubiri and Senator Alan Cayetano last night. But bottom line is all is well that ends well, and probably it's just a misunderstanding on both of them. And they actually patched up, and they were able to talk again last night. No? So also that ends well.
Okay. Well, we're glad that...
Actually, I wanted to ask one last question, because you also spoke out against the cutting of the defense budget. Parang nag-propose po si Secretary Chodoro ng 254 or 245 billion, but only 75 billion was approved under the National Expenditure Program. Is that correct? And could that still be raised? And what are your thoughts on that?
Oh yes, Gretchen, I've been very consistent, no? Ever since I came back, because of here in the Senate. Because of the precarious situation in the West Philippine Sea, I've been very consistent every year in trying to augment or even add to the defense AFP modernization budget, no? Which has always been suffering a lot of cuts. That is correct. The proposal is more than 200 billion, 250 billion, but what was approved in the National Expenditure Program is only 75 billion. And of that, it's 50 billion is as program funds, and 25 billion is in the unprogrammed funds. So ibig sabihin hindi pa sigurado 'yon, no? So I am hoping that this can at least be doubled, no? Because we have a lot of catching up to do. We have to be updated with the Horizon 3, which is already focusing on external defense, given the sensitive and precarious situation in the West Philippine Sea.
Indeed. Still lots more to talk about, but we've run out of time, so we're going to have to leave that there for tonight. Again, thank you so much for your time, Senator J.V. Ejercito.
Well, up next, Vice President Sara Duterte admits she did go to Calaguas Islands Resort after a police report confirmed she was there the morning of the plenary debate on her budget. The details when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You are watching Big Story here at One News.
Well, all in all, it's been a rough day for the Vice President in Congress. She knows this too and slammed the congressional hearings in a separate press conference.
Wala na tayong pinag-uusapan patungkol sa bansa, kundi si Sara Duterte. Dami-daming problema ng bansang ito, pero hindi na pag-usapan dahil pinapag-usapan natin si Inday Sara Duterte. Pero wala namang problema sa akin yon. Kaya ko naman sagutin yan lahat, kasi alam ko naman wala akong ginawang mali. Lahat naman sa mga sinabi ko, meron kaming basihan. At sinabi ko doon na what they're trying to do is they're trying to make a case for impeachment. Kasi last year pa yan nila gusto talagang gawin. They're trying to make a case for impeachment. Dahil wala silang ebidensya Ang ginagawa nila, nag-fishing sila dito sa mga tanong.
But adding to her troubles, the vice president has been caught in a fib. Remember when reports first surfaced earlier this week that Duterte had been at a beach in Calaguas Island in Camarines Norte? She was supposed to be in Congress defending her budget for next year. The OVP then issued a statement denying these reports, calling them efforts to besmirch her reputation. But today, a report by the Camarines Norte Police confirmed that Duterte checked in to a Calaguas resort on September 21st and left 6:28 in the morning on September 23. When asked about this, Duterte tried to get by on a technicality.
Accurate naman, tama yun lahat, ang report nila. 6:32 was it na umalis ako doon sa Calaguas.
Nung Monday po, ma'am.
Ng Monday. Ang budget hearing started 10 a.m. So tama din ako. Walang budget hearing na nangyayari at 6:32 a.m. Walang congressman magigising ng 6:32 a.m. para magtrabaho. By the time na nag-hearing sila sa budget, 10 a.m., nandun na kami sa Vinson's poblasyon.
Several House lawmakers now want an apology from her. Zambales 1st District Representative Jay Kongun said, "When you're caught in a lie, the best course of action is to apologize, not to make excuses. This is about integrity. If she cannot be honest about something as simple as her whereabouts, how can we trust her on more important matters?" Vice President Duterte said she visited barangays in Calaguas Island to understand problems in the community like access to medical care, lack of electricity, and potable water. But Congressman Zia Alonto Adiong says she could have gone to those places any other time.
I think it's how you manage yung priority. The budget really it's of utmost importance because we're talking about the operation of the entire bureaucracy of the government. She can visit those areas anytime. The process that we are doing right now is not just to the House of Representatives.
Meanwhile, Duterte refused to give more details when asked about her visit to former Vice President Leni Robredo in Naga City, Camarines Sur. But she said it was not only Robredo that she visited but other former vice presidents of the country as well.
Isa sa mga tasks na nilista para sa akin dito sa Office of the Vice President is to visit former vice presidents doon sa mga residences nila. Ang una kong nabisita, syempre, hindi alam ng mga tao kasi wala namang lumabas na picture, but mag-excuse lang ako sa family. Binisita ko si former Chofisto Gingona, former Vice President Chofisto Gingona sa bahay nila. So I was welcomed there by the family. Nagkausap din kami ni Sir. And then, next was former Vice President Erap Estrada. Binisita ko din sa bahay niya. Anong purpose ng pagbibisita ko? Nagpapakilala ako sa kanila. Nagsasabi ako na ako yung Vice President. At sinasabihan namin sila as former Vice Presidents, we owe it to them na kung may kailangan sila, susuportahan namin sila, yung opisina ng OVP. And we invite them to lend us memorabilia para sa Office of the Vice President Museum. So binisita ko si former President Erap Estrada sa bahay niya. Binisita ko si former Vice President Gloria Arroyo sa bahay niya. And then ngayon, I had the opportunity to visit Vice President Robredo sa bahay niya. So dalawa na lang, and I still have 4 years to go. Dalawa na lang ang hindi ko pa nabibisita sa bahay nila. Si former VP Binay and former VP De Castro.
Vice President Sara Duterte also said she is not going to leave her office. Do we have an update on the deliberations on the budget?
House has passed on third and final reading the 2025 General Appropriations Act, which is 6.352 trillion pesos. And yes, they did pass. That includes the OVP budget for next year, which at the moment stands at 733 million pesos.
So they
it
did
seems
not
like
slash it.
they did not cut it further, even though Representative Franz Castro had suggested that she will propose that. She will make a motion for that.
For 530, but it didn't push through. Well, as mentioned, Congress is holding marathon sessions tonight to get everything passed on time. In particular, Senate President Cheese Escudero and House Speaker Martin Romualdez have both committed to pass the 2025 national budget before Christmas break. Only after Congress passes House Bill 10800, or the General Appropriations Bill, can discussions begin in the Senate. The two leaders made a statement after attending the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, or LEDAC, meeting this morning at Malacanang, which was led by President Bongbong Marcos.
Mamayang gabi po, maipapasa natin po yan on third and final reading and ready for transmission in short order to the Senate. Kaya itong pinaka-importanting batas na hinaharap natin po sa Kongreso at tas yung kumpiyansa ko na ito ay may tatapos natin itong gabi dahil sa pagka-certify ng Malacanang urgent po itong batas na ito po. Kaya that will be done.
Minaasahan namin na ito'y maaprubahan ng may sapat na panahon para ito'y mabasa at ma-review ng Pangulo kaugnay ng mga line item veto na maaari niyang gawin sa panukalang budget upang maging ganap na batas ito bago matapos ang taon.
Bills are, of course, priority bills of the current administration, and currently 19 out of the 64 priority bills of the LEDAC have been enacted into law.
Up next, we'll be speaking with Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, Navy spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, about the increased presence of Chinese warships at the Escoda Shoal. That when the big story returns. Keep it here.
Welcome back. You are still watching the big story here on One News. Just very quickly before we move on to our other stories, to recap the breaking news just now, the House passes on third and final reading the 6.352 trillion peso national budget for next year. And yes, that includes the 733 million peso proposal for the budget of the Office of the Vice President. The House passed it with a vote of 285 to 3-0, meaning 285 voted yes. General Appropriations Bill 2025 will now go to the Senate for their deliberations. Again, 733 million pesos is where the Office of the Vice President budgets currently stands.
Let's move on now to the West Philippine Sea. As reported yesterday, a record number of Chinese warships have been spotted in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine Navy says it jumped to 251, the highest by far this year. Let's get more details on this from Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, spokesperson of the Philippine Navy for the West Philippine Sea. And he joins us over the phone. Magandang gabi po, Rear Admiral.
Yes, good evening, Regina, Lisa, and Gretchen. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.
Rear Admiral, 251 ships, record high. But yesterday we had Benjamin Blandin from the Gordon Yacht Center, and he said around 250 po yung average na total number of ships around the West Philippine Sea. Is this an alarming number or medyo tumaas lang ng konti? How do we read this?
No, it's not alarming sapagkat alam naman natin na they could project more. That is still within the force projection capability of the PLA Navy, the Coast Guard, and the Maritime Militia. They have more than that, but these are spread out all over the South China Sea.
But
it's nothing to be alarmed of.
We're also seeing the PLA Navy presence in Escoda Shoal as well as Scarborough Shoal. How do you read the number of or the deployments of these ships? Meron po bang strategiya dyan? Pag nakikita niyo yung mga numero, kung gaano kadami, saan sila nakafocus, sa Escoda, sa Escoda lang po ba, tsaka sa Ayungin? Ano po yung masasabi po ninyo?
Yeah, actually, we look at it from a bigger perspective. In the first place, yung kanilang presensya ay illegal. And then they swing around the different ships of the different shoals or reefs within our exclusive economic zone. Sometimes nasa Bajo de Masinloc, sometimes they focus on the Union Shoal, sometimes naman sa Escoda or sa Bina Shoal. Again, it's nothing to be alarmed. We monitor them, we know what they're doing, and we keep conducting our maritime law enforcement operations and our patrols. We will not be deterred from performing yung mandato natin, yung mandate natin.
With a number of ships around Escoda Shoal, do you think it's possible for us to get through the possible blockade of Chinese ships in that area para po makapagpadala tayo ng barko doon?
Yeah, the objective is not to get to the stream of the ships. The objective is to monitor what is happening on Escoda. And this could be done visually, magpadala ka ng barko. This could be done by air surveillance flights or other systems that we have, land-based, sea-based, or space-based systems to know what's happening. So yung pagpunta ng barko doon is just one of the approaches we have to be able to monitor Escoda or the other reefs and features that we have.
Rear Admiral, I wonder if you could give us an update on the replacement ship or reinforcement ship to the BRP Teresa Magbanwa. We heard it was the BRB Gabriela Silang that was sent there. Could you give us confirmation, please?
Yes, I could not confirm that because the details of that are with the Western Command and Naval Forces West or the Coast Guard District in Palawan. Suffice it to say that we continue our patrols all over our features in the West Philippine Sea. Kasama doon ang Escoda. May mga patrols naman tayo doon, Navy and Coast Guard.
Are we, after the incident at the Escoda Shoal, the ramming incident I'm talking about in late August, are we looking to do anything different? Are we looking to change our tactic when it comes to patrolling that area?
No, wala naman. Sapagkat yung ating strategy naman is already in place, is being implemented by Western Command. Maaring sa Philippine Coast Guard, kung may mga changes man sila, it will be at their level. But for the AFP and the Philippine Navy, Western Command is doing what it has to do when it comes to monitoring and securing our features in the West Philippine Sea.
Rear Admiral, we understand that the location of Escoda Shoal is strategic because you have to pass through that area to get to Ayungin, to resupply the BRP Sierra Madre. Paano po yun na maapektuhan yung resupply mission po natin?
Hindi naman siya maapektuhan sapagkat pwede kang dumaan doon sapagkat it's a shallow area. And kung gagamitin mo ay yung mga maliliit na barko, kailangan may break ng konti ang mga tao to refuel or to check their systems. But yung mga ibang barko natin, they could pass not only to Escoda, all over the place. Coming from mainland Palawan, they could pass southern part of Escoda or even further south sa may Balabac Island, south of Palawan. So hindi naman siya ibig sabihin na maraming barko doon, hindi tayo makapag-conduct na rore sa Ayungin Shoal.
More fuel though. At alam natin, mahal yan, no? Milyones yung gasolina na papunta doon.
Rear Admiral, para lang po, para po mas maunawaan ng mamamayan na nanonood po sa atin, you mentioned it's not alarming, this growing number of Chinese vessels. But kayo po, sa inyo pong pananaw, why is the number increasing? Bakit po sila nandito?
The number would increase, the number would decrease, depende sa ano. We have been plotting this since the first quarter of this year. The pattern is that pag merong masamang panahon, may typhoon, bumababa ang number. There are times na banayad ang dagat, tumataas yung number. This particular increase could be related to Escoda Shoal, the extra attention that has been given to Escoda Shoal.
Rear Admiral, pupunta lang po ko sa kabilang dako. Doon sa Bajo de Masinloc, there is a video online, a report saying that fishermen continue to be harassed in that area. Kamusta naman po yung lagay po doon? Hanggang saan po nakakarating yung mga mangingisda?
Yeah, yung mga details about all our fishermen sa Bajo de Masinloc and even sa West Philippine Sea, sa Escoda Shoal or the other features, is under the Coast Guard. The Philippine Navy, the AFP, is in support of the Coast Guard and BFARC. And we are prepared to provide any assistance if called upon.
How about the research vessel that was spotted, I believe, 20 plus nautical miles from Palawan? Would we have any idea as to what they're doing there?
Yes, we could only surmise kung anong ginagawa nila. But there were reports, and this was also corroborated by other reports from the ground, from our sources of information, na merong research vessel proceeding towards the southern part of Palawan. So nag-deploy naman ang Western Command ng Coast Guard vessel and Navy vessel to check on it. But when they got to the location na sinasabing ito yung lugar na kung saan andun yung research vessel, wala na siya doon. And based on the track that we have, it proceeded towards a southwestern direction mula sa latest nila. And if they went, kung tuloy-tuloy sila noon, by this time, nakalabas sa ating EED yun.
What would be the movement of these research vessels? Do they stay long in an area or talagang pass-through lang?
When you say you are conducting research, kailangan gumagalaw yung barko, tumatakbo yan. And then you will have a pattern that is not usually straight. Exact pattern or depende sa ginagawa mo research.
A number of countries, Rear Admiral, have offered to help the Philippines with maritime cooperative activities, or MCAs, and also joint patrols. I wonder if you could talk us through them. Ano yung plans there?
Yes, alam mo, we are very thankful that these other countries are showing their support, not only through statements, but sending the ships to conduct activities with our Philippine Navy and with the armed forces in general. So we welcome this. It's a very good indicator that we are not alone, that the other countries support us in ensuring the rules-based order will remain standing in this part of the globe.
Which countries are we looking to do MCAs with in the near future?
I could not give advanced information, but we have MCA activities with Australia, with Japan, with India, with Vietnam, UK, France, Canada, the US. So maraming mga sumusuporta sa atin. And I would like to say to sa mga sumusubaybay sa atin ngayong gabi, marami pang darating na ganyan. But we will only be able to announce that pag nandyan na o pagpatapos na. We don't give advanced information.
Yun nga lang, Rear Admiral, speaking of AFP modernization, kanina kausap po namin si Senator JV. Ang sabi niya, yung 254 or 245 billion proposal of the Department of National Defense, nakat po yan to 75 billion approved under the National Expenditure Program. Ano po masasabi niyo dito? Paano natin ma-appeal na mataasan? And how will this affect the progress of the modernization program?
Hindi naman, sapagkat the details of our modernization program is under the purview of the Department of National Defense. Alam naman nila na how to balance everything, Air Force, Navy, and the Army Joint Headquarters, to include the budget. So may mga plano naman ang DND how to undertake the modernization program if ever ganung amount lamang ang binigay. And we submit to DND that they're in charge, they're on top of everything.
There was a proposal, I don't remember at this point who floated it. There was a proposal that the Philippines should begin renting or leasing ships or assets, since we have so few at the moment that can be deployed for long periods of time out in the West Philippine Sea. Is this something in consideration, Rear Admiral?
Yes, actually, all options for modernization are being considered. It's not only buying or procuring. There are other options like leasing or multi-year financing or getting the best offer that these proponents could give us. The statement of the SND is that we will only engage countries which have strategic alignment with our interests. Ibig sabihin, yung sumusuporta sa atin sa panindigan natin sa West Philippine Sea.
So there are talks ongoing already in terms of leasing assets then?
Yes, that's one of the options being considered, but the final decision will come from the Department of Defense.
Rear Admiral, kahapon kasama rin po namin yung na si Benjamin Blandin mentioned that there might be logistical difficulties because we source from many countries. Ibig sabihin, yung maintenance, magkakaiba yan, yung learning curve in running these ships from different suppliers. Meron po ba tayong ganung nararanasan, no? Na medyo mahirap.
Sa ngayon, wala pa naman, but these are part of the decision parameters to be made in dealing with the different components. The supply chain, where do we get the spares, paano ang procedure nito, will it be government to government or what? So we look at the overall picture, we recommend, and DND approves. And one of the approach also is to try to look into kung kayang gawin dito sa atin. To be able to take advantage of local labor and to spur the local economy.
That's correct, because before we used to build our own ships, way before. We have, we've had a history of doing that. All right, thank you so much for your time tonight and for joining us on The Big Story. We have the spokesperson of the Philippine Navy for the West Philippine Sea, Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad. Well, some good news. A House bill seeking a fresh 25-year franchise for the Manila Electric Company o Meralco has been approved by the House of Representatives on second reading. In the interpellation, lawmakers raised several issues to the bill sponsors, including the price of electricity sold by Meralco, future plans to tap nuclear energy, and other processes related to its services. Meralco supplies electricity to 25% of the Philippine population.
The rate per kilowatt hour, 11.97 noong August, tapos 12.30 per kilowatt hour noong September. So ang tanong ko po, so paano siya nako-compute na sabi niyo po, di ba, ano po ba yung factors?
Well, ang pinakamalaki po dyan, 60% ng gastos po dyan would be the generation charge, no? And this is ang mga factors so kung bakit nagbabago dyan, kasi ang fuel cost nagbabago, ang dollar exchange rate nagbabago.
As a matter of disclosure, Meralco Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan is also the chairman of Signal TV.
Speaking of House bills, again, circling back to the the breaking news item tonight, House Bill 10800 has been passed on third and final reading by the House of Representatives. This is the national budget for next year. And again, we're looking at live feed of House Speaker Martin Romualdez giving a speech.
May I request all members of the House of Representatives and all our guests in the galleries to please rise and witness the oath-taking of our new member.
They want to carry it? It's their decision. Again, it was passed. 285 voted yes, 3 voted no, and 0 abstentions. Proposed national expenditure is the biggest ever in the history of the Philippines. And again, yes, if you're wondering, it does include the budget of the Office of the Vice President, even though she snubbed and completely boycotted the plenary debates. And at the moment, the figure stands at 733. But remember, this is just the House. Now it goes to the Senate. The Senate will do plenary deliberations on the budget, to which Vice President Sara Duterte has promised to appear. And then after that, it goes to a bicameral conference committee to reconcile both versions, and that will be the final budget for next year.
Well, it is election year also next year, right?
You're saying that's why the budget is at a record high?
Well, they were saying a lot is to be considered, like inflation and everything.
That is true as well. It's true as well. It's a good point.
But the budget of the Vice President's going the other way.
But hey, that's a lot of bills passed in one day. Can I just say, they are working overtime.
A lot of stories too. But for us, that's the show tonight.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.